right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? Is that not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. Not Montana. I'm talking about never mind.
Yeah, no, Chester,
Ignore me.
That's Republicans could add to that.
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
Here are some rapid-fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What would you eat for your last meal on Earth?
I'm fond of old favorites, childhood favorites. I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Yes, it is the Grace Curley Show, and it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I've listened to so much Joe Biden this week that I need a stiff drink and a few days to decompress, because yesterday was a disaster. I mean,
this makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
Truly. Unless you're talking to Jennifer Rubin, the reviews are in and they're not great. President Biden finally had a press conference. The longest any president has gone without holding a solo press conference. And to the shock of no one, it wasn't great. I read a lot of great pieces on this. I'm going to read you guys some quotes on it. But I have tons of guests who are going to come on. And this is something I want to remind people. If the media drives you crazy, and they drive me bonkers. My blood pressure, sometimes I'll go on Twitter right before bed, which is like a death wish. You go on Twitter before bed, you start scrolling, you start seeing all these blue checks, and I start getting so angry right before I'm about to go to sleep. And I know there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of Yamiche Alcindors who are completely in the bag for Joe Biden, and I get that. But there's also a ton of really great conservative writers who broke down what happened yesterday in an amazing way with some really funny lines. And I'm going to share that stuff with you. But we have to go over what happened because I said this before, and this is kind of what our poll question is going to be about. I knew Joe Biden was going to be bad. I mean, I watched him throughout the debates. I've watched entire press conferences that he gave as a candidate. I had no idea that he was going to do well at this. In my mind, it was a sure thing. But what I was really curious about, what was kind of up in the air for me, was will the media at least pretend to be on the level? Just pretend. And they didn't. They were, to their credit, they are incredibly, incredibly transparent about how biased they are. They love this guy. And I think the worst was Yamiche Alcindor. After I've read all of these pieces, the one question people seem to keep going back to was Yamiche's question, where she asked Joe, what's it like to be such a moral, decent guy? Do we have that cut, Jared? Let's play that.
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening. That I'm a decent man, or however it's phrased. That, that's why they're coming, because Biden's a good guy. Truth of the matter is, nothing has changed. As many people came, 28% increase in children to the border in my administration, 31% in the last year in 2019 before the pandemic.
You get the idea. But her question allowed him to go off of that. That's the worst part. And these are the same reporters who have been screaming about kids in cages for years. Concentration camps on the border. The sky is falling. This is the worst thing that's ever happened in our country. This is a stain on the United States of America. I don't have to tell you guys. You've heard it all. And now Joe Biden goes out, stands in front of the microphone for like 50 minutes, takes about 10 questions. Or no, probably took a few different questions, but from about 10 different reporters. Put his pants on. And they are just, they're amazed. They are blown away. And it's really disgusting. Also, what I did not realize till last night was he had a cheat sheet. He had a few different pamphlets, which is not something that most presidents do. I don't think Trump ever did that because we would have heard about it ad nauseum. He had these weird pamphlets that broke down kind of bullet points for him, kind of like what I have every day. And dare I say, he did not do that great even with the pamphlets. He didn't seem to be able to read the bullet points clearly. He still messed up. Some of the numbers they had on the bullet points, he still bungled. And he had them in front of him. And then he had this weird piece of paper that had all these different faces on it, all these different pictures of the reporters. And I was trying my best for you guys. I was trying my best to really zoom in and try to see who was circled and who was crossed out. But I don't blame his administration because they really had no other choice. They had to send him in with something. And even with the extra help, he was losing his train of thought left and right. I mean, we played a little bit of this yesterday, but I think a lot of it is still worth replaying just to kind of show you guys how not good it was. Let's start with, I actually want to play cut 11.
I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done.
Can we quote you on that, Mr. President?
We can try. We can try our best, but I don't really know what he said. One of the pieces I loved on this was by Roger Kimball from Spectator, the USA version. And it's titled, A Tame Press Conference for a Lame President. And I'm going to read you guys some of it. He says, "Can I go home now?" Joe Biden asked with his eyes. Joe Biden looked like he wanted to call an end to his first presidential press conference before he even got started. But he soldiered on. Having prepared for a few weeks to talk to, 7, maybe 8 carefully selected members of the press, he was not about to give up on his chance to bask in some adulation. And boy, was it on offer. Now, this is his version of Yamisha's question. Was it because you were such a nice man that you had more success than the awful Voldemort who preceded you? Oozed one female correspondent. No, that's not a direct quote. The original was more embarrassing. It really was. I want to play the original. I think it's important you guys hear just how bad these reporters are. Go ahead, Jared.
Yamish.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. You've said over and over again that immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors. How do you resolve that tension? And how are you choosing which families can stay and which can go, given the fact that even though with Title 42, there are some families that are staying? And is there a timeline for when we won't be seeing these overcrowded facilities run by CPB when it comes to unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I guess I should be...
Someone tweeted out, she also should have added, do you think the fact that you're so handsome has played a role into people surging at the borders? I don't know why she wouldn't have. She said he's moral, decent. Throw in a handsome. Why not?
And she was like shaking. Her voice was like, she was like nervous. It sounded like me asking the girl out in 6th grade.
Yeah.
You're so good and so moral. Like, what is going on?
Sweaty palms. She's like, thank you so much for taking this question. It's like she's meeting the queen or something. These are the same people. And I just want to clarify. I would not get so heated on a Friday when we've got food coming in and we have awesome guests here. I would be able to just let this go and kind of laugh at it if it weren't for the past 4 years. I have not forgotten the past 4 years. I had to watch every single one of President Trump's press conferences. And did he say some crazy stuff sometimes? Of course. Yeah, he did. But was he more coherent than Joe Biden? 1,000%. And was he taking tougher questions? And that's the part of this that really should amaze everyone. Is that this guy, that performance, which was, I would say an F on the grading scale, but I'll give him a D because he didn't completely, collapse on stage. That performance was when he was lobbed the biggest softballs I've ever seen.
The election is behind us, and what happens next is anyone's guess.
And he still did not hit them out of the park. Really bad. And now back to this piece here. He says, but much more concerning was the Truman Show-like setup of the event. It really was like the Truman Show. Here we had an old senile man pretending to be president while a handful of flacks pretended to be reporters. Every issue that was raised was wrapped up in a tissue of lies and misrepresentation. And we're going to get into that at 12:30 with Chris Bedford from The Federalist, because it was the framing of these questions. They weren't questions. They were people who were activists lobbying for Democratic positions, whether it was the filibuster or, anything they want him to pass. It was just an excuse for them to say, why aren't you doing things faster? Why is everything taking so long? And it really was kind of amazing. We're going to play some more of that on the other side. We've got a lot more to get to. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to open the phone lines because it is Friday, and I think people probably want to talk about this. A sleepy Joe Biden hosts the most awkward press conference of all time. That's one headline. Biden's lies and the media doesn't question it. And then, of course, the Jack Dorsey of it all. Did you see this, Jared? Jack Dorsey finally admitted that burying the Hunter Biden story was a mistake. We'll be back on the other side, guys, with more and the poll question. Do not go anywhere. Call in if you want to add in something that I'm missing from yesterday. I think I covered it, but we'll spend the whole show breaking this down. 844-500-4242. Happy Friday. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.
Yeah, this hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you by Aviva Trattoria. Join a winning team. Apply in person on Saturday, April 3rd at the job fair at Apex Entertainment in Marlborough or online at avivatrattoria.com. They're hiring over 1,000 team members with great incentives.
The election is behind us, and what happens next is anyone's guess. Most agree, though, that taxes will be going up in the future. Is your portfolio ready? Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates want you to be sure.
If you want to come in and take advantage of that free consultation, we're going to have the 100-100 challenge. So if you have at least $100,000 in an investment account with somebody else and you go through our processes, no obligation, you're going to be able to get a $100 bill. You could leave our office with that $100 bill, and we're going to do the comparison, and we're going to send you on your way, and then you could circle back around if you wanted to.
Call now for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for market reviews and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today at 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100.
Joe Biden doesn't have time for malarkey, and he also doesn't have a lot of time for geography. Take a listen.
The people of Nevada are watching, and I'm going to be out there seeing them very soon. Tonight, though, we just heard from the first 2 of 50 states. It's important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look, we need to hear from Nevada and South Carolina and Super Tuesday states and beyond.
And Biden doesn't know the difference between Iran and Iraq. He's gotten it wrong 4 times.
We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try, in Iran. We tried in Ukraine.
He always gets the name wrong.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. This is sort of a scenic, beautiful town. I like Keene a lot.
How many times has he missed it? He's in Iowa. He says, great to be in the great state of Ohio. And they say, Joe, you're in Iowa.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more.
Okay, boys and girls, gather round. It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story of the missing makeup brush.
When I first started working for Howie, I was in sales with the mailroom manager. And one time I bought this really expensive makeup brush. Working for Howie, it was like my first real paycheck. So I went out and bought this super expensive brush. And when I was driving around with the mailroom manager, we'd go all over New England making sales. I lost it. I thought I lost it in her car. And, I asked her, I said, hey, have you seen my makeup brush? And she was kind of like, no, I haven't seen it. I'm sure it'll turn up. But I was really determined to find it. And I kept saying, like, no, you got to check again. You got to check again. I eventually found it in my own car under the seat. But she still remembers thinking, this girl is wacky about her makeup.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curley.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
North Korea is facing not just Joe Biden's masculinity, but an entire piece of paper with instructions on it that Joe Biden is perfectly willing to read anytime he needs to. That cue card is Joe Biden's secret weapon in the fight against nuclear proliferation. You can breathe easy, America.
And that's a really important thing because there was a lot of talk yesterday about whether or not Joe Biden is going to run for I can't even say it with a straight face, whether he's going to run for president in 2024. I mean, I was looking at him yesterday going, is he going to, be able to get out of this press conference in the next 20 minutes, let alone thinking 4 years ahead, or 3 years, really. But there was a conversation about the Republican Party and whether or not there would be a Republican Party in 2024. And one of these writers that I was reading said, will there be a United States in 2024? And guys, trust me, it's Friday. We're going to have some fun. I don't want to depress you. But I was just talking to my VIPs, and I did say, I've listened to talk radio for years. I've listened to Howie Carr. He always keeps it pretty light and fun. But you do hear a lot of people contemplating, is the sky is falling. This is so bad. The left, the far left, the progressives, they're ruining the country. And a lot of times you take that with a grain of salt and you go, okay, everything's going to be okay. And everything is going to be okay. But yikes, I did not feel good about everything yesterday. Watching him on stage and really watching this surreal, I think that was the best way to put it was Roger Kimball. It's this surreal Truman Show thing where we're all supposed to pretend that it's normal. And then I see the responses from people who Jared has told me multiple times I should not worry about because they're robots. But there are real people out there who watch this and think he's killing it. He's killing it. He is doing such a good job. And for that, I cannot wrap my head around that. Michael Goodwin's piece in the New York Post is getting a lot of play. He said 3 big things stood out in President Biden's first press conference. 1, the leader of the free world is often lost at sea and says many things that are blatantly false. 2, the media is in the tank and cannot be trusted to hold him accountable. And 3, because of numbers 1 and 2, America is headed for serious trouble. For this sickening spectacle, we had to wait 64 days. That's what I kept thinking. I mean, and I felt the same way at the debates. Like, this is what you've been preparing for. This is why you're calling lids early every day. According to the press, he was practicing like nightly for this. And this was the performance? I don't know. Get clinically proven blood pressure support. You're going to need it after watching Joe Biden. So make sure you check out Super Beets Heart Chews by visiting getsuperbeets.com/grace. When you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in a third for free. That's getsuperbeets.com/grace. Get Super Beets, holding it up for the camera. Getsuperbeets.com/grace. These are delicious. I'm going to give some to my VIPs after they have their food from Aviva. I promise you guys will love them. They're really yummy. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who are you more ashamed of, the president or the press?
The press. And I'll be so interested in how this poll question comes out because my VIPs are telling me they think the president, and I know I quote this a lot. I quote Tucker a lot because he's right on a lot of the time. He said, my scorn has turned to pity, and that's how I feel. It's almost like a little kid up there. I can't be ashamed of him because I don't think he's in control. I think he's being pushed out by all of these people. So it's not really him at this point, but the press. These are people who claim it's their job to hold this guy accountable, and that's the best they could do. Not one question on COVID. Remember COVID? Do you guys remember that when Trump was out there every day having press conferences on the coronavirus? Not one question on this thing, on this virus that has ruined people's lives and destroyed our country. Not one question on that. And there was also no questions on gun control. Jared, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. Wasn't this the thing that was taking over? I'm sorry. Read us the results, Jared.
72% say the press.
Thank you.
Is more shameful than they are more ashamed of the press than of the president.
And it's so obvious how much they want to accomplish and how scary how scary it is when they frame it in this way, because there's a lot of young kids who watch this and go, oh, Republicans are trying to restrict voting rights. That sounds bad. But that's not the full story. That's just what the press is feeding to Joe Biden so that he can say, Jim Eagle, Jim Crow, God love you, kid. Come on, man. Or whatever he says. I don't even know.
I can say quite clearly.
There's a lot of cuts that we'll keep playing. We have Chris Bedford from The Federalist coming up in the next segment. He's going to talk about H.R. 1. He's going to talk about the differences in how the press is reporting on this. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're just saying, Republicans are evil, Republicans are racist, and there doesn't seem to be any pushback. Oh, by the way, just one last thing before we go to break. Not one question on COVID, not one question on gun control, and the most infuriating, not one damn question for Peter Doocy. Yep, the one-horse pony didn't get one question. That's the President of the United States, everybody. Yikes. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Grace Curley Show.
Don't jump. We need you.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
I'm going back to Massachusetts.
Howie Carr is coming home from Florida. Yes, he's tearing himself away from Mar-a-Lago to return home and welcome the VIPs back into the studio this May. So reserve your tickets now before they're gone. The VIPs are offered a selection of autographed Howie Carr books and even a dinner. By the way, the books are great for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or just summer reading. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on VIP Experience.
Heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
It's story time with Grace Curley. What do you think was the funniest moment of the Howie Carr Show?
The funniest moment of the Howie Carr Show for me was when we were doing the death pool and someone called up and Howie said, "You're next on the Howie Carr Show. Who do you want for the death pool?" And the person said, "Howie Carr." And Howie said, "Yep, that's me. Okay, who do you want for the death pool?" And the person said, "Howie Carr." And Howie again said, "That's my name." And I was just back here crying laughing in the green room, just realizing that this person was trying to put Howie in the death pool, and he just didn't understand what was happening. And then finally, when he figured it out, he said, "That plays, put it on the list." And it was just, I don't know, I still think about that sometimes.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. And follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curley.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid. The rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Ooh.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. I'm excited for our next guest. He's becoming a Friday regular on the program. Chris Bedford from The Federalist. Thank you for joining the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
All right, so let's break down what happened yesterday. I'm sure you were very impressed with Joe's performance, but what I really want to ask you about is how the headlines are reading about this. And specifically, let's talk a little bit about this push for the HR 1 that happened yesterday from a lot of these activists / reporters.
It was wild to see how some of these reporters were phrasing their questions. I mean, it's worth it to remember that this is the first time in over 9 weeks that Joe Biden has given a press conference. So setting a record for a century of presidents and how long it's taken for these guys to have any access to them. And then he came out with a list of who exactly he was going to call on. He stumbled over it a few times. Who was he going to figure out? Who was he going to pick? Who was going to ask him the right questions? And they came right out, and they most of them, not all of them, but most of them gave him exactly what they wanted, saying, Why isn't your decency, is your decency a problem with your immigration, that you're such an upstanding man, was an opening question. Zeke Miller over at AP saying, how far are you willing to go to fulfill your promises to the American people? And then reporters pushing him on voting rights and this massive Democratic power grab that is being sold in the New York Times and elsewhere as a voting rights expansion, when in reality, when they take power away from you and they give it to illegal aliens, they're taking voting rights away from actual citizens and away from Americans. But the truth are lies right now, and lies are the truth with our press and with our powerful.
Yeah, and you talk about this in your latest piece. It's called When the Powerful Say Truth is a Lie and Lies Are the Truth, No One Will Stand Up for America But You. And you talk about exactly what this HR 1 bill will do. And I think as far as the press is concerned, they get out there. It's a chance for them to get a viral clip going. And, they ask about the border and, like you said, how decent Joe Biden is. But when I talk to my listeners and when I talk to people, regular people every day, this bill scares them, and they are afraid of the integrity of our elections going forward. And by what you write, they should be.
Exactly. I mean, just some of the things that HR 1 would do is it would ban nationally voter ID requirements for people. It would do all these things, by the way, by taking power away from the states and vesting it federally in order to oversee elections. It would mandate that states allow for early voting. It would allow activist groups on the outside to collect and then deliver ballots for counting, which is extremely weird stuff, and it's the kind of stuff, by the way, that we saw in Philadelphia in 2020. It would do away with the having to get a notarized absentee ballot. It would force states like Massachusetts or elsewhere, anywhere, to take ballots 10 days after an election is over and continue counting. It would give either Democrats or Republicans, who would give partisan control to the Federal Election Commission by getting rid of one of its members so it's no longer split. It would make you count the illegal aliens who are in your different districts as part of why your district has more votes, which is a very bad incentive. It will literally allow the IRS to start digging into nonprofits' political ideas and what do they think, not just what are they doing, but what do they think, and how does that go with us? And it will make it very difficult, extremely difficult for Americans to sue. So when I said earlier that it would turn the FEC into a partisan organization by allowing the party in control, it would really just turn the FEC into a Democratic organization, because the party in control, if this kind of power grab passes, is going to be the Democratic Party. And Republicans, I'm glad your listeners are really onto this, because a lot of Republicans here in D.C. have not woken up to how dangerous this is.
And another thing you point out was that a lot of these questions from the press seem to be lobbying for different ideas that the Democrats have. And one piece I read from the New York Post said the dominant theme was that Biden and his team are not moving fast enough to turn America upside down and inside out. Why don't you? When will you? Why haven't you? Over and over. The aim was not to ask a question, but to speed up an agenda. And part of that you write about, Chris, is the filibuster. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the filibuster is something that the only party, by the way, last year that used the filibuster was the Democratic Party. Because, of course, the filibuster is a tool to protect the minority party in the Senate, to allow them to hold things up, to allow them to force unanimous consent, to allow them to actually have any power. And that's what makes the Senate different from the House of Representatives. It's getting less and less so all the time in the name of democracy. But the Senate's not just mob rule. The minority party in the Senate can actually do something and try to hold things up, and it forces bipartisanship, which nowadays everyone likes to pretend is an important thing, except when it actually counts. And the Democrats right now, who have been fierce defenders of this, from President Barack Obama to President Joe Biden back when they were in the Senate, to Chuck Schumer literally last year, now want to do away with that. And if they do away with the filibuster, they no longer need 60 votes on nearly anything. They can do everything with 51. It's a broad nuclear option, as they call it. And with that, they'll be able to push in their agenda. And this agenda, Joe Biden promised Bernie Sanders back on the campaign trail that he would have the most left-wing agenda since FDR. And that's generally what he's actually been doing with the Equality Act, saying boys are girls and girls are boys, with the power grab takeover that we're seeing here, the end of women's sports, the elections. This is what they're pushing for. They're very ambitious, and the reporters who basically ran the communications for their campaign are cheering them on the whole way.
That, I think, for me, as someone who really follows the media and has been watching it over 4 years, is the most frustrating part, is just watching these reporters really help him along and really slobber all over him. And one thing you point out is there's virtually zero skepticism in their reporting. And I also noticed that there was no pushback on any of the things he said yesterday that were blatant lies. There was no fact checking. There was no Daniel Dales in the room. It was just, he was allowed to go on and on as long as he wanted.
Yeah, one great example is one of the very few good questions that came out of the press pool yesterday that wasn't just a complete shame, was a reporter who said, we've been interviewing 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds who've been sent from countries hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away by themselves to get over here. The reason why their parents made that horrific decision to do that is because Joe Biden said that they would be accepted. They would be allowed to be American citizens. They would be let in. And Biden came back to that reporter and said the alternative was letting them starve to death in the desert in Mexico. Now, this is a fundamentally false painting of what President Donald Trump had done as a border policy, which is they were sent back. They were only sent back to Mexico if they were from Mexico and their government accepted them, and if not, they were in shelters and they were in the cities and they were in centers, just like they're in on our side of the border, not starving to death in the desert. That was the kind of propaganda that he was pushing. And you kind of referenced there the part I was writing about Axios, which is like started by the co-founders of Politico. It had Mike Allen and Jim Vandehei and all these guys who are literally veteran reporters. They've been doing this for years and years and years. And they wrote about Joe Biden's plan that he met with some historians 2 days ago to re-engineer America quickly, was the quote. And all the historians said, this is a great idea. Now, in this part, they have this really condescending aspect called why it matters in every Axios story. And they broke down why their massive left-wing power grab matters. And they said Joe Biden's not going to rub Republicans' noses in it, that he's going to become the next President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And this, how fast is too fast when you're trying to remake America in a great way and to re-engineer it. Now, that's not reporting. That's like a press release. And this is in the pages of our newspapers every day while all this is happening.
And I think what that speaks to, Chris, is that they really do think this is everything is now a moral issue, and they are right. And when you think you're good and your enemy is evil, which they do think of Trump and his supporters and all Republicans, then there really isn't anything they won't do to get this accomplished. They don't care how extreme they have to be, and they don't care how obvious they are. I mean, I'm a little naive here, but I thought they were going to be more nuanced and maybe throw a couple of hard questions at him just to kind of keep the charade alive. But they really did not yesterday.
It's still surprising to me, exactly like you just said, still surprising how shameless they are in this. How they're simply not shamed. Their editors aren't looking at the pages of the New York Times yesterday with their dueling headlines, which were just pro-Democratic and anti-Republican through and through. And no one's looking at that and saying, wow, this is embarrassing. This is not what I went to journalism school for. This is not ethical. This is not what I want. Now, there are opinion journals out there. There are newspapers like the Federalist, so you're going to get opinion when you go to it. You know where we're coming from. But a lot of these other papers, whether it's Politico or the New York Times or the Boston Globe, they pretend that they're not. They pretend that this is straight news. And then you read these straight news pieces, they read like old unhinged opinion pieces that you would have read maybe 20 years ago. But they don't care, and the new generation coming up actually thinks that facts don't matter, and it's how truth is perceived and the truth behind the truth and all this gobbledygook they learned in college. And they think that they're justified in doing this. That's a problem for Americans trying to read the news.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I'm speaking with Chris Bedford from The Federalist, and I always am amazed at how many of my friends, and, you know, I'm fairly young, I'm 28, how many people get alerts from CNN and MSNBC and just take them as fact. They read these headlines and they go, oh, okay, I got my news for the day. And I'm sitting there like, oh, God, you might want to go somewhere else once in a while. But, Chris, I want to play one cut for you before I let you go, and I would love to get your reaction. This is Joe Biden on re-election, cut 16.
Have you decided whether you are going to run for re-election in 2024? You haven't set up a re-election campaign yet, as your predecessor had by this time.
My predecessor needed to. My predecessor. Oh, God, I miss him. No, the answer is yes. My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, I mean, I think the press could have been asking more serious questions like, why did it take you 9 days to get up the mental acumen to be able to come out before the sunset? I mean, I wouldn't be worried about what President Joe Biden is doing in 4 years. I'd be worried about where he's at next week. But that question really bugged me, seriously, because over the last couple of weeks, this has been part of the parlor games that are reported in Washington, D.C., where there were aides close to Joe Biden said he thinks of himself as a one-term president. And then there were aides close to Joe Biden who said he thinks of himself as a two-term president. He technically hadn't announced yet, but this was entirely a D.C., Washington gossip story that had been generated by bored reporters trying to get clicks and create some kind of sense of drama. Meanwhile, there's a massive crisis at our border. There's a massive election power grab, and the Democrats are literally trying to redefine what men and women are and change the face of sports and society. And the question was, what are you going to do in 4 years? And will Kamala Harris get to be your VP? I mean, I understand that CNN's excited to run his next campaign again. But in the meantime, just hold your breath, guys, and why don't you ask about the questions that are real, that aren't rumors, that Americans are dealing with right now.
Chris Bedford, the senior editor at The Federalist. Chris, where can people follow you on Twitter?
They can follow me at CBedfordDC. Twitter's a terrible place, but if you guys are on there, follow me there.
Thank you so much. We hope to have you on again soon. This is a great piece. It's called When the Powerful Say Truth is a Lie and Lies Are the Truth. No one will stand up for America but you. It's a really good breakdown of all the things they talked about yesterday and all of the scary policies that the Democrats really want to get through. And when I talk to regular people, that is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of election integrity and what's happening at the border. But like Chris pointed out, at CNN, they're more concerned with 2024. because that seems like something very possible that Joe Biden will be running for president in 2024. Guys, it's officially spring, and that means allergy season is back. Fortunately, so is the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier BOGO offer. Buy one, get one free. BOGO. That's right, BOGO is back only until Sunday, March 28th. And Jared, tell people what's so great about the Thunderstorm.
Well, anybody like me who has allergies, seasonal allergies, although my season is all year. But if you have allergies, you know what it's like. You wake up or you're at home, you get the scratchy throat, your eyes are watering, you're a little stuffed up. But the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, it doesn't just freshen the air and make it smell nice. It actually oxidizes and ionizes the air around you, literally cleaning the air, getting rid of pollutants, getting rid of allergens, in some cases getting rid of viruses, so that you are breathing clean air. And for somebody who doesn't always breathe completely out of both nostrils and without problems, being in that environment is great. If you have allergies, this is definitely the thing to do, and the BOGO is definitely the way to do it.
I don't get allergies that bad, but I will say that it's great for smells if you cook a lot and, that leftover smell of chicken or steak. It's great to have this kind of clear out the air. It's buy one, get one free BOGO. I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see just how small and compact this is. Really powerful unit. The more you buy, the more you save, and there are no limits, but only for this week. Go to EdenPure.com, click on the radio banner, and use code word GraceBOGO at checkout. That's EdenPure.com, click on the radio banner, and code word GraceBOGO at checkout. We'll be back on the other side with more news. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you by the Howie Carr VIP Studio Experience. Tickets are available now with experiences beginning in May. To order, go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on the VIP tab. And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it. And people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and me, I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. True. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn, as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
Was I wearing a tiara when I came in here? Because if you happen upon it, will you have Lady Pennyface retrieve it and send it post-tense?
She's the epitome of class, style, and sophistication. She's Grace Curley.
Okay, I have a secret. I know I always seem super chipper on Fridays, and of course it's TGIF, but it's also because that's the day we get Aviva Trattoria in the studio. I'm joined by Marcy, and Marcy, what'd you bring us today?
Hi, Grace.
Hello.
So happy to be here. Today we have a whole bunch of new things that you haven't tried before.
I know, I'm so excited.
So we, of course, actually brought your chips, because you always mention those in the arancini. But we brought some calamari today. Some of our woodstone wings.
Oh,
delicious. An orecchiette dish. We have a short rib risotto. So our short rib over a nice mushroom and squash risotto.
And you also brought some cannolis.
And tiramisu.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm a sweets person. Okay, so Marcy, everyone wants to know about this job fair because I've worked as a waitress before. I've worked in the hospitality industry, and you guys have taken a big hit recently. It's really hard for people. And what's so great is that you guys are hiring so many people, and you're so positive, and you're really trying to get people back to work. So tell people about this job fair, where it is, and what they can expect.
When you say we're hiring so many people, it's 1,000 people we're hiring, Grace. Between Apex Entertainment, Aviva Trattoria, 110 Grill, the Fairfield Inn and Suites, and the Hyatt Place, all located in Marlborough, and many other locations. Aviva has 4 locations. 110 Grill is up to 34 now, and Apex is all over the place also. So this will be hosted by Apex Entertainment in Marlborough on Saturday, April 3rd.
Nice.
10 to 2 p.m.
Perfect.
Like I said, 1,000 job openings. It's incredible.
That makes me so happy. And Howie pointed this out too. It's great if you're a younger person and you're trying to get into the workforce, but you don't know how. I can't say this enough. Working in a restaurant it's great life experience, but it can also just be a great way to make money, to make friends, to have a social life. I always felt when I was working at restaurants that I always had a story to tell. I was always meeting people. And right now, I think a lot of people would enjoy a job like that. Now, Marcy, I do have to circle back here to Aviva for one quick second.
Sure.
Because a lot of people say to me, where can I find Aviva Trattoria? I want to go, because I tweet out the pictures every week and people get very jealous and very angry that they're not eating the food. So there's 4 locations right now.
4 locations right now. We have Westford, right off of 495, Marlborough, Maynard, and Rentham. And shortly, around mid-June to late June, we'll be opening up in Malden.
Oh, great. We have a lot of listeners in Malden.
Yep.
And my last question for you is, are you guys doing anything special for Easter?
Yes, so next Sunday, April 4th, is Easter. We'll be having an Easter brunch. It's available at all 4 of our locations from 10 to 2. Our regular menu will also be available. And what's very exciting, at our Maynard location, we'll be having the Easter Bunny join us.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Do you hear that, guys? If you have little kids, it might be a good time to get to Aviva Trattoria.
Will be. So just to recap on that job fair that we have this next Saturday, the Saturday right before Easter, we're looking for thousands of people. We're hiring on the spot, in-person applications, same-day interviews. You come and you win, and please come join our team.
There's going to be food. There's going to be prizes. Check it out. You can also go to our website to find out more information, gracecurleyshow.com. Thank you so much, Marcy.
Thanks,
now
Grace.
I got to go eat some food. It looks delish.
I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but this reminded me again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer, a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. To schedule a complimentary consultation, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story, and I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, see those two kids up there? And he said, those are my sons. They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists.
Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry, white guys.
Angry, white man.
The angry, white, old men.
These angry white men.
The angry, white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist. Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
You tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story, and I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those two kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons." They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has. This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grace Curley Show. Happy Friday. It's a very happy Friday here at our studios. We've got some delicious food that was just brought in, and we have a show jam-packed with great guests. My next guest writes for Red State. His name is Shipwrecked Crew. That is his secret name. And he's talking now a lot about the Hunter Biden gun story. I want to give a quick synopsis of what happened. Hunter Biden's ex-girlfriend, who's also his late brother's widow, found a revolver in his truck, and she tried to get rid of it. So she wrapped it in a black plastic bag, like a trash bag, and she threw it away in a trash bin near a market that they frequent. And then she went home. She told Hunter about this. He freaked out, told her to go back. When she went back to this trash bin, the gun was not there. And now the story was in Politico, and they kind of made a point of saying that, yes, this is bad, but no, there's no crime here, or at least not a crime that is often, followed up on. And so I was reading this story today by Shipwreck Crew, and he had a whole different take on it. And he's going to explain this to the audience in a way that's very easy to understand, because it is a little bit in the weeds. Thank you for joining the show, Shipwrecked Crew, and tell us what you think this story is missing.
Well, good afternoon, Grace. Excuse me. As someone who was a federal prosecutor for 23 years, I'm very well versed in the approach that the Department of Justice takes to handling prosecutions of offenses involving gun handling or gun violations. Obviously, those kinds of statutes run up against the Second Amendment, the right of the citizens to keep and bear arms. So what Congress has done in an effort to impose some gun handling, gun possession restrictions is they have made it illegal in a variety of circumstances connected to illegality for handguns to be, or firearms in general, to be possessed. The most obvious one, and probably one everybody's heard about, is that it's illegal for a felon to possess a handgun. A felon doesn't have Second Amendment rights.
Right.
They lose it by virtue of their conviction. Well, another one that Congress created that people not have heard of is it's unlawful for someone under an order of domestic protection. If your spouse takes out a order against you, domestic abuse claims, you can't possess a firearm while that order exists. So one that the government has, one that Congress passed, is in Section 922 of the Title 18 of the United States Code, is it's unlawful for a user of controlled substances or an addict to be in possession of a firearm. It's a felony, and a lot of people go to jail over this crime every year. It's prosecuted widely, it's prosecuted heavily, it's prosecuted in every judicial district of the United States. It is a go-to charge that DOJ uses in a variety of circumstances whenever they find guns in circumstances where other illegal activity is going on and that illegal activity fits within the confines of the statute. So, Hunter Biden is a longtime abuser of cocaine by his own admission, given in interviews. Independent evidence. He was kicked out of the Naval Reserve for testing positive for cocaine use in 2014, I believe. He's given interviews about his long struggles with using cocaine. On his laptop, there are videos of him using cocaine. This is not a secret. It is, in fact, I'm confident, a basis upon which Hunter Biden was judged. While Joe Biden was vice president, Hunter Biden was certainly considered a national security threat by the Secret Service because of the wreck that his personal life was. So now you have these events come together in October of 2018 involving this handgun that Hunter Biden apparently purchased, according to the records, on October 18th, I believe, and then which his significant other at the time, Howie Biden, the widow of Bo, Hunter's older brother, discovered the gun, searching for something in the pickup truck, wrapped it in a plastic bag, and drove to a nearby grocery store and threw it in the trash. There's no question that he owned the gun. He produced documentation showing where he had purchased it to the police when they were trying to recover it. The police went to, or some federal agents, and that's a whole different angle. Federal agents went to the gun dealer, confirmed that he had, in fact, purchased it on the day he did. So right there you have a confirmed user of controlled substances in possession via ownership of a firearm.
Now,
that is a crime that generally carries a sentence of between 20 and 30 months in federal prison.
Now, two questions, Shipwrecked Crew. How was he discharged from the Navy? Was it a dishonorable discharge? Was it just an administrative one? And my second question is, why did Politico say that lying on a form is a felony, though prosecutions for it are exceedingly rare, if you're saying that this is prosecuted all the time?
Okay, two things. First of all, I'm not completely conversant in military judicial matters and exactly how his discharge went down. My understanding from what I've read is that you can only get a dishonorable discharge by virtue of an actual court-martial, and that he was not court-martialed, but he was administratively separated, which I think is a euphemism for he just agreed to resign and depart without further proceedings against him. And so I think that's called a less than honorable discharge. It's not a dishonorable discharge. I'm not sure how minor a distinction that is, but I think that is a distinction under the United States Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. Regarding the form, we're talking about two different. Politico's talking about a different crime. Lying on any government form is a 1001 violation. It's a false statement to a government official. You lie on the form the government says you have to fill out under penalty of perjury. You've committed perjury. You've made a false statement to the government. That's one crime. Being a user in possession of a firearm is a completely different crime. Okay. Lying on government forms is a prosecution that is not often undertaken because in the case of firearms, there are literally millions of these forms. I mean, there's a form for everybody that purchases a firearm. It has to be filled out as part of the transaction with a licensed firearm dealer. So, if you were to set about trying to prosecute everybody who uses controlled substances because they check no on the box on the form, federal agents and federal prosecutors wouldn't have time to do anything else.
Got it. But what you're saying is...
On the other hand, prosecuting drug users who are actually found in possession of a firearm, that's done all the time.
Got it. And now, Shipwreck Crew, I want to ask you, though, you do talk a little bit here about the timeline with the laptop and with those pictures. What would have to be proven as far as that goes for this to become a reality?
Well, I mean, the pictures are just evidence. They're evidence of, apparent drug use. Now, you don't know, you don't have a chemical test of what he's smoking in the picture. And oftentimes that's an evidentiary stumbling block. It's like, well, what's he really smoking there? You have a picture of it, but you don't know what it is. But, it's a circumstance where the evidence of his cocaine use, by his own admission, is so well documented that, you look at the pictures and the videos on the laptop that are captured on the laptop when it was given to the FBI. And it's just another, building block in making the case that he was a user of cocaine in October of 2018 when he purchased this firearm and possessed it. So it's important in that sense, but that's really the only sense. The laptop is just a source of evidence of the status of being a user.
Now, I have one more question for you because there was a lot of back and forth about the Secret Service and their involvement in this incident, and you talk about that and where it took place and the police that were called in. Can you kind of give people an idea of whether or not Secret Service were involved in this?
Well, it seems to be confirmed. In fact, there was another document posted after I posted my story online, which appears to be a text message sent by Hunter to somebody talking about, the rockiness of his relation with Howie in that particular time frame. And Hunter says that, after she threw the gun away, the police were called, the FBI came, and Secret Service came. So those are Hunter's own words. If what has been posted on Twitter is actually a text message that he has sent, which it appears to be. So I don't know that the Secret Service's presence is really in dispute. The Secret Service won't confirm it. It's odd because in October 2018, Joe Biden was no longer under Secret Service protection. He'd not been vice president for 2 years, and that protection detail ends for a vice president after a certain period of time. For president, it continues for most of their life, but for a vice president, it does not. So it's odd that the Secret Service was there. There's no explanation yet for why they were called. I posted some suppositions in my second story earlier today that I'm not surprised by it because the local Secret Service in Wilmington, Delaware, and they have an office there, would have worked often with the Secret Service presidential or vice presidential protection detail out of Washington anytime Joe Biden came to Delaware. That's sort of the field office provides assistance and extra manpower. Well, they also work closely with state law enforcement providing that protection. It's not like, the Secret Service brings 100 guys from Washington to establish a perimeter around Joe Biden's house when he goes to Delaware. They use locals who know the layout, they know the streets, they know the residents, so they use locals and state law enforcement working along with the Secret Service. So there's an 8-year period of time where the Secret Service agents in Wilmington would have been working closely with the Delaware State Police in protecting Joe Biden. And so I'm not surprised that there are personal connections between agents of the two agencies, state troopers and Secret Service agents in Wilmington, where this gun episode is investigated according to the paperwork that Politico is referring on, although they don't post it online, which I thought was odd. I think there's probably stuff in it they don't want out. But there's it's not surprising to me that a trooper investigating this for the Delaware State Police would pick up his cell phone and call a local Secret Service agent that he knows from having protected Joe Biden and say, hey, guess what Joe Biden's ne'er-do-well son Hunter has done now? And a couple of Secret Service guys, get in their cars, roll out from the office and head over to see what's going on. Doesn't strike me as odd at all. Doesn't strike me as is it appropriate? Absolutely not. Secret Service got no role to play. They should not be there. Their presence there now has to be explained, and their presence is subject to differing interpretations. I don't find it necessarily sinister just based on my own experiences, but it was inappropriate, and they should not have gone.
Shipwreck Crew, he writes for Red State, and some of these pieces are just unbelievable. I will tweet them out so people can find them. And thank you so much for joining the show. I feel like I have a better understanding of it now, but definitely a crazy story that I am still interested in, and I hope more information comes out about it. Thank you so much for joining the show, sir.
Take care, Grace.
All right, guys, we'll be back on the other side with the poll question and some more sound from yesterday's disaster of a press conference. This is The Grace Curley Show.
She's never held office, but she paid the whiskey priest's monthly rent once. She's Grace Curley.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you by 110 Grill. Join a winning team. Apply in person on Saturday, April 3rd at the job fair at Apex Entertainment in Marlboro or online at 110grill.com. They're hiring over 1,000 team members with great incentives.
It's a new year and time for a new you. DiStefano Hair Restoration changed my life, and they can change yours too. My production director said when he saw a recent pic of me that, you look great, like Benjamin Button. You're getting younger. That's quite the compliment, and I owe it to DiStefano Hair Restoration and Dr. Chris Hines. Many wait years before they get the hair restoration they deserve. Stop waiting and just get it done. You won't regret it, and you'll ask yourself, why did you wait so long? You can see my before and after photo shoot on their site at hairman.com. Hairman.com. DiStefano Hair Restoration is taking all the necessary precautions to keep you safe during your visit. They also offer virtual consultations. Go to hairman.com today and schedule your free consultation and get the hair you deserve and have always wanted. Dr. Hines took care of me and he'll take care of you too. Visit them today at hairman.com.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada.
Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much.
All right, it's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curly.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. I just had some of that Aviva pizza. Wow, really, really yummy. All right, so we've been talking now about the Hunter Biden of it all, Joe Biden's press conferences, and I do want to talk a little bit about Twitter, because finally Jack Dorsey was asked about the fact that they banned the New York Post from Twitter. And his responses are exactly what you'd think. All of these Ministry of Truth people, it's all semantics. You know what I mean? Like it's you really feel as if you're being gaslit. And that's a term that the left likes to use, but they're the gaslighters. At a congressional hearing on misinformation and social media, Dorsey said Twitter made a total mistake by barring users from sharing the Post bombshell October report about Hunter Biden's emails. Hunter Biden is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Twitter also locked the Post out of its account for more than 2 weeks over baseless charges that the expose used hacked information. You guys remember that? This massive bombshell breaks about Hunter Biden that any other presidential candidate would have been run out of town for. And Twitter says that they can't share the story or allow others to share it because it might be Russian disinformation. Because it's unthinkable. It is inconceivable that Hunter Biden, the same guy who's trying to find discarded guns in trash bins, may have left his laptop at a repair shop.
Leave the gun. Take the cannolis.
Speaking of cannolis, we do have cannolis today. And we will be taking the cannolis, but nobody here is dropping any guns off in trash bins. But they think that is totally out of this world, that maybe Hunter just actually left it there and forgot about it. So they had to ban everyone from sharing the story. They made the New York Post delete their tweets because this could be Russian disinformation. Well, it turns out months later, when it doesn't matter anymore, that this was not Russian disinformation. It was actually all real news, which the media and these news outlets don't usually come across. They aren't used to seeing facts and actual photographs and things of that nature. So now Jack Dorsey's finally admitting, oh yeah, it was a big mistake. Big mistake. And then Steve Scalise says, all right, well, did anybody get punished for this censorship? Then he gives, runs around in circles. It's all so pathetic. Get clinically proven blood pressure support with delicious Super Beets heart chews by visiting getsuperbeets.com/grace. When you buy 2 bags, like I have right here, they'll throw in a third for free. That's getsuperbeets.com/grace, getsuperbeets.com/grace. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who are you more ashamed of, the president or the press?
Oh, the press. Every text I got from people during that press conference yesterday was, wow, and excuse my language, I hope my mom's not listening, but wow, the media sucks. They are awful.
The press is running away with it at 71%.
Jared, can we play one more Tucker Carlson cut here? Let's play cut 47.
But there's nothing average about Joe Biden. Time improves him. Like certain varieties of artisanal cheese, Joe Biden is meant to be aged. He just gets sharper and more pungent. His next campaign will be even tastier.
We have that to look forward to. He's aging like a bleu cheese. All right, guys, when we get back, we have a great guest you don't want to miss. And we're talking about gun control. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday, and it's the Grace Curley Show. Howie, have you ever heard the expression, if there's a nip in the air, the Irish will drink it?
No, but that does sound reasonable considering my Irish heritage.
Well, Howie, I have a big announcement. After 100 years, McConnell's Irish whiskey is returning to the U.S. Having left because of Prohibition, McConnell's is making its comeback for a new generation of whiskey enthusiasts.
I'll drink to that.
McConnell's Irish whiskey is the comeback spirit. When you take your first sip, you'll know some things are just worth the wait. Sláinte.
I'm going back to Massachusetts.
Howie Carr is coming home from Florida. Yes, he's tearing himself away from Mar-a-Lago to return home and welcome the VIPs back into the studio this May. So reserve your tickets now before they're gone. The VIPs are offered a selection of autographed Howie Carr books and even a dinner. By the way, the books are great for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or just summer reading. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on VIP Experience.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
meet any hardship,
to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What are you, the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean? And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. You know, it is Friday. We do have a lot of fun on Fridays, but I'm really excited about this next guest because it's a very serious problem. And I actually, Jared, I just dragged these into today's clips. I want to play for you guys a little bit of the sound from my next guest. You guys know him as he was the father of a young woman who was killed in the Parkland shooting. Her name is Meadow. His name is Andrew Pollock. And I remember when he first gave this speech at the White House because I called my dad and I was really emotional because it was such a moving speech, and it was something that he was talking right to President Trump, and it was a really different take that a lot of people don't have after an atrocity like this happens. So, Jared, can we play a little bit of sound here? And I'm warning you guys, it is tough to listen to, but it's definitely worth giving a listen.
I'm never going to see my kid again. I want you all to know that. Never, ever will I see my kid. That's how I want it to sink in. It's eternity. My beautiful daughter, I'm never going to see again. And it's simple. It's not, we could fix it.
Andrew, thank you so much for joining the Grace Curley Show. Andrew, you there?
Yeah. I don't listen sometimes. I can't listen to it, so I don't think I ever watched it, that speech, ever.
I don't blame you. It's very emotional, and you talked a lot, though, in that speech about how you wanted to fix the problem, but you didn't want to focus on gun control and gun laws. And I remember you saying to the people there, that's a fight for a different time. We got to fix the problem. So tell us how you think this problem that obviously keeps happening could be helped.
Well, there's two things that need a lot of work on, and I'm focused on one that I think that I've been making a difference in. The thing I can't make a difference in is there's laws in place already that prevent the mentally ill from being able to purchase a rifle. They need to be put in the system where there's due process involved, not just, they're just taking with a red flag, they're just going to take someone's guns away from them because they had a bad day. I'm talking people that are evil, that are mentally ill with a history of mental illness, and they're evaluated by a professional. They go through the court system, and it's put on their background so they can never, ever purchase a firearm. And those laws are in place. We don't use them. In Florida, they call it a Baker Act. We don't have any mental illness facilities for people that are that sick. So those laws are in place. We should be working on it. And instead of politicians, they're focusing on gun bills How about just focus on these people that should never be able to purchase a rifle, that are sick? They've been to the hospital for mental illness, dozens of times, but they're still able to go into a store and purchase it because they don't have a background. There's so much talk from politicians. They want this type of background, universal backgrounds. Background checks only work if the individual has a background. So they should be working on that instead of focusing on more laws. And those laws are in place, just not enforced.
Yeah, and Andrew, you're cutting out a little bit, but I agree with...
Sorry.
It's okay. I agree with you on that, and I think that enforcing the laws is really the problem here, because like you said, there's no shortage of bills and laws that are passed about gun control. But my next question for you has to be, what are your thoughts on the FBI? I mean, we're hearing that just like in Parkland, the FBI did have some prior knowledge of this monster who did this in Boulder.
Well, they need to be held accountable. We have a wrongful death case against the FBI, and we're moving forward with it. We have some really good other parents. They have some great lawyers on it, and we got past their motion to dismiss. So they need to be held accountable. So there's things that they make changes. After every shooting, okay, if you just blame the gun, you never come out with the facts of really what went wrong. So you got to dissect everyone, and you could learn after each shooting so things don't happen again. This murderer was a screaming mental case. He in high school, to his parents, on social media, just like the same thing that happened with my daughter. He threatened to shoot the school up, never arrested. Tried to kill himself, never put through the system where he would have a background check. He threatened to shoot. I said he threatened to shoot the school up. He trespassed at the school. He threatened to kill students. These individuals need to be held accountable where it goes on their background, so they're not able to purchase a rifle. The FBI, they need to be held accountable so things like this don't happen again. But those things I can't, I'm working on a case with the FBI. We have our lawyers on it. But there's something that I'm doing personally that could help prevent shootings, and I focused my whole life on it, and we've been making a lot of progress with it across the whole country.
Yeah, no, tell us about that. You have a program that's happening, and I think people would like to know where they could find out more about it.
Oh, that'd be great. So what I've been focusing on, after my investigation, and I wrote a book, Why Meadow Died. If anyone's putting their children into a public school, they should get my book, Why Meadow Died. But when I was writing the book, I met with a lot of first responders, and they're heartbroken that they couldn't perform that day because they didn't have the right intel, they didn't have the proper monitoring of the cameras. So there's guys that retired. I know 2 guys that personally retired because they were so distraught over what happened. So what I'm doing is I came up with a software, okay, and if there's anybody in law enforcement or any public gathering entity, I want them to go to my website, schoolsafetygrant.org, and look at my website. In a nutshell, what we do is we could connect the police to any entity with cameras within 5 seconds. So say that supermarket in Boulder, if they would have called 911, or we give them an app on their phone, they would light up in the Boulder Police Department, in their real-time crime center. They would see every camera in the supermarket, every camera in the school, a hospital, a church, within 5 seconds. It gives the police mapping to know exactly where the shooter is in the building. It gives the police the ability to talk over the PA. So within 5 seconds, they could be telling the shooter, drop your weapon, we're pulling in, we're in the parking lot, we're in the building, you with the red hat. They could be yelling over the PA system. And everybody has, any temple, church, supermarket, school, they all have PA systems, malls, and we could connect the police to that. We also connect them to the fire alarms. My daughter was put out onto the 3rd floor where she got shot 9 times. because the teacher thought it would be a good idea to put her out into the hallway because she heard the fire alarms going off. Ignored the 90 rounds that went off inside the building, but because she heard the fire alarm, she thought that would be a good idea. So now from dispatch, they're able to look at the cameras, see no fire, silence the fire alarms, and instruct people what to do over the PA. And we did all this within the last year and a half. We've been working on it, and we've been implementing it in different police departments throughout the whole country. And I'm excited about it. Finally we're getting through this COVID, and we're able to, I see making a big difference. We would have made a difference in Boulder if they would have had my software.
I'm talking right now to Andrew Pollack, and I admire you so much because the speech you made when you were talking to President Trump, you were angry. And of course, you have every reason to be angry. And I think everyone, when they saw you talking, they were thinking, I would be the exact same way. But you didn't focus on the politics of it. And I can hear it right now in your voice. You're more focused on helping the situation and trying to avoid this in the future. And I want to encourage people to check out that site, schoolsafetygrant.org. Is there anything else you want to tell us, Andrew?
That word anger, I haven't lost any of it since that happened. I get angry every time I walk through my hallway and I see my beautiful daughter's pictures on the wall. I get angry thinking about the people in Boulder that just sat there cowering and got shot, So that's what I focus on. I try and focus on making a difference. These politicians that are going to bicker back and forth, gun laws and stuff like that, they'll never accomplish anything. They're not going to ban weapons. It's not. They'll have, you could take pistols, you could take a shotgun, you could take a bomb. The thing is to better equip the police to respond, and so they could respond efficiently. My software will shave minutes off response time, and we need to treat these mentally sick people. We need to give them backgrounds, and you need to open up some mental institutions, and you'll see a difference. And those are things we could accomplish. Not when they start focusing on different things that don't make a difference.
And Andrew, I don't want to play the sound cut because I know it's tough for you to hear, but I just want to tell you, one thing you said that really struck me was you said getting into the building that you were at, I think it was Department of Education, you said there was a security guard in the elevator with me. How do you think that makes me feel, that there's a security guard in the elevator and all these schools are left like sitting ducks? And it got me thinking because I read bills all the time. I mean, the latest one was the Porculus bill full of, all this crap. They're sending money to hamster research and Pakistani gender research. And it does make you think, why can't we afford to spend money, $90 million for illegal aliens to stay in hotel rooms by the border, but there's no money to make these schools safer?
Correct. And, fortunately, Florida is a super Republican state with some great senators and House reps and the governor. We passed a bill in Florida that made it mandatory for there to be a police officer in every school, and we got them money too to help harden the schools. But you see in other states, they're defunding the police and removing police officers from the schools. So if parents, it's not a good idea to send your child to a school where there's not a police officer. You wouldn't send them on a plane or to a sporting event where there's a mass gathering. So it's on the parents now. You have to do the smart thing. It's your responsibility to take care of your children. And you're right. Not even was there. I had to go through a metal detector at the Department of Education, and then the armed security in the elevator to press my button for me. Like I needed that, But at the school where my daughter was, the murderer, not many people know this, he called Uber, and he got into the Uber with a Cabela's rifle bag. The Uber driver saw him come out of his house and drove him to the school with the rifle bag, where he walked in right through an open gate and killed 17 people.
Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know it never gets easier. Can you tell people where they can find you on Twitter and give the name of the website one more time?
Sure. It's schoolsafetygrant.org, and these are grants. We're giving it to police departments for free, okay? So there's no reason why any police department, even if you don't have a real-time crime center, to reach out to us, we'll help you. And any church, temple, mass gathering, schoolsafetygrant.org. And you could find me at Andrew Pollack FL on Twitter.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And please come on again soon. Thank you.
Anytime. Take care.
Thank you. And we'll play some of those clips, guys, on the other side. I mean, I talked to Andrew today, and I said, I don't want to play these things if it's going to, it doesn't get any easier. And like he said, it's, he's not going to get any less angry. And I don't want to make him upset while he's doing the interview, but I do think they're worth playing. So we'll play them on the other side. A quick change of pace here, though, for 1 second, because I do have to tell you about something pretty exciting. If you've ever wondered what makes Omaha steaks so darn good, it's the aging process. Jared, tell everybody what we got here at the studio today.
Oh, we got some pork chops. We got some ground beef burgers. A lot of chicken. The chicken looks really good. We even got kielbasa. In natural casing, which is the only way to eat kielbasa.
These VIPs right now are looking at us going, what do you guys just get food all the time? And we do. Omaha Steaks ages their steaks at least 20 days because that's the sweet spot. It's where the magic happens. People say that all the time. It's all about the aging process. You can try those mouth-watering steaks in the Butcher's Best Sellers Grill Pack. It includes 4 of their iconic and fork-tender Butcher's Cut filet mignons, 4 ultra-juicy burgers, 4 savory pork chops, desserts, and so much more. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter Curly with an E into the search bar for a special price on the Butcher's Best Sellers package. Plus, you'll get 4 more chicken breasts and 4 more of those delicious burgers for free. We got this package today. They do not go skimpy on you. There's a ton of stuff in here. Omaha Steaks has been the leader of gourmet steaks and food since 1917. No one comes close to matching the flavor, tenderness, and value of Omaha Steaks. All right, so here's what you have to do. Go to omahasteaks.com, type keyword curly with an E in the search bar. That's Curley. Like my great-great-great-great-grandfather, the mayor, and order the Butcher's Best Seller Pack today. Don't forget you'll get the 4 free chicken breasts and 4 burgers. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword Curly. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Follow Grace on Twitter at @G_Curly.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Ken's Place in Scarborough, Maine. Stop by today and have one of my favorite world-famous batter-dipped fried clams. They are the best in the world. That's Ken's Place on Route 9 in Scarborough, Maine.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble some of the things I say. But I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
It's story time with Grace Curley. Tell me the story about who really hired you.
The mail manager really hired me, but it wasn't a great interview. Like, she'll even tell you that. She asked me what I like to do for fun, and all I could think of was I like to go out to dinner with my friends and eat. and get drinks. So I really just sounded like a loser who doesn't have... I think I also lied and said, I like to play tennis, just because I wanted to do something that sounded normal. Howie had no idea who I even was. I mean, I came in, was 10 minutes early for an interview, which everybody knows the story. I had red lipstick on, and I was 10 minutes early, and that was the high bar I had to meet, because then I got hired.
Catch all of Grace Curley's stories weekdays right before Howie from 12 to 3 on The Grace Curley Show. Online at gracecurleyshow.com. And follow Grace on Twitter at G_Curley.
Grace Curley. She's here for the love.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. Jam-packed show so far, and we will have producers' picks in the next hour because I know everyone's craving a little bit of fun. But I did want to play some more sound. We had the father of a Parkland shooting victim on in the last segment, and he has some really amazing sound cuts. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was from when he met with President Trump in 2018. And I wanted to play this cut because I think right now when these horrible things happen, and none of us have the answer, it seems like the liberals, their immediate response is gun laws and gun control. And this guy, Andrew Pollock, he has a different view of it. And I wanted to play this because it's heartbreaking, but it's worth listening to.
We can't forget about it. All these school shootings, it doesn't make sense. Fix it. It should have been one school shooting, and we should have fixed it. And I'm pissed because my daughter I'm not going to see again. She's not here. She's in North Lauderdale at whatever it is, King David Cemetery. That's where I go to see my kid now. And it stops. We all work together and come up with the right idea, and it's school safety. It's not about gun laws right now. That's another fight, another battle. Let's fix the schools, and then you guys can battle it out whatever you want. But we need our children safe. Monday, tomorrow, whatever day it is. Your kids are going to go to school. You think everyone's kids are safe? I didn't think it was going to happen to me. If I knew that, I would have been at the school every day if I knew it was that dangerous.
I think it's amazing how complicated our politicians make issues. And I think hearing from someone who has been a victim of this kind of atrocity and hearing them say we can work together and we can put in things that prevent this in the future is really refreshing. Because I'm talking to my VIPs, and I was actually talking to someone today who's a little bit more liberal, and they said to me, well, why do people need to have those guns in the first place? Why do those? And I said, so what's the solution there? We're going to get rid of all those guns? Do you think that's a possibility? That we're going to go around and collect every single gun from every single bad person? No, we're not. Of course not. We got to prepare. We can't live in this fantasy world where Kamala Harris and Beto O'Rourke are going to go around and do some sort of buyback program, and all the criminals and all the psychopaths and all the monsters are going to say, oh, those aren't allowed anymore? I didn't get the memo. Oh, hold on. Let me go grab it. I got it in my trunk. I'll give it right back. We got to start dealing in reality. And the more I hear about all this money that's being spent everywhere but in the United States of America, our money, our taxpayer money, I'm thinking, go to schoolsafetygrant.org because at least they're doing something to help Americans. We'll be back on the other side with more, guys. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Take advantage of an irresistible new offer from HelloFresh and hit refresh on your dinner routine. Get delicious recipes and fresh, pre-portioned ingredients sourced directly from growers, delivered to your door. With more than 25 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping, and hello to new 10 to 20-minute meals, low-prep recipes, and quick breakfasts and lunches. HelloFresh recipe cards cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures to help you get meals on the table in less than 30 minutes. Plus, you can skip the store and save up to 28% on groceries. HelloFresh isn't just delicious, it's a good deal too. Go to HelloFresh.com/Howie12 and use code Howie12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping, for a limited time only. That's HelloFresh.com/Howie12. Code Howie12 for 12 free meals. Code Howie12 at HelloFresh.com/Howie12.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leaders?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs. Civilization as we know it is at stake. I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody anytime.
Which two words best describe the Biden administration?
Well, I you know, families should be the rapidly rising in with I don't know.
First, any specific.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Eric Swalwell.
You tweeted in support of a proposal of a Biden-Swalwell ticket.
Yeah, or Swalwell-Biden, Wolf. I'm open to entertaining both variations.
The president has a fixer. Innocent people don't have fixers.
Which part of it hasn't been proved factual?
Well, Christopher Steele himself said it was not a finished work product, and everyone who analyzed it said.
Which part was not proved factual?
Are you serious?
Bodyguards should have the same guns that I have to protect my family.
They're America's bodyguards, Tucker.
They're not.
She's the Boston Herald's wittiest wordsmith, the last woman standing at the Whiskey Priest. Once a very legitimate magazine that we definitely didn't make up named her the Michael Jordan of radio. Wait, don't you think we're laying it on a little thick here, Grace?
Just stick to the script.
Oh, okay. Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio, it's the Grace Curley Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grace Curley Show. Okay, let's get right into it. I was just having a discussion with my VIPs, and they really inspired me. We want to talk about whether or not the curse is broken. And here's what I mean. If you've had interactions with loony liberals, people who are totally Trump deranged, who have, stopped talking to you or stormed out of a dinner party or, fought with you on Facebook or, former relatives who have disowned you and don't want anything to do with you, are they happy now? Is everything okay? Do you have a friend who you can reach out to and say, well, Joe Biden's president, Can we unify again? Can we have peace? Can we have normalcy? Or is the Trump derangement still strong? Is it still living loudly within people? Like the dogma, as Di-Fi once said. I want to know, because I look around and I see these headlines and they're technically about Joe Biden, but everything, whether it's Jennifer Rubin or Bill Kristol or Nicole Wallace or Brian Stelter, everything they're doing is because, and every time they can't address something honestly, it's because Trump is still living rent-free in their heads. So let me know, 844-500-4242. If you've had an interaction with someone over the last 4 years of Donald Trump where they were so angry, and then Joe Biden got elected and you thought, maybe things will go back to being hunky-dory again. Have they? Because I have a couple of experiences of my own, and I don't think they have. I think these people, this might be a lifetime thing. Trump derangement syndrome might have a lifetime affliction. That's just, Jared, you're making a face. Do you agree?
I do. And it's like you mentioned in the last, or not the last time, when Chris Bedford was on, that these people truly feel they have this moral compelling or imperative, this moral imperative to fight the evil orange man bad that has been put in front of their faces.
It's good versus evil.
Yes, and they really feel like they are working on, I won't say the side of God because they're liberals, but they are working on the side of whatever they believe in as their religion to get rid of this demonic Republican, evil, hate, fearmonger, literal Nazi presence.
Yes, it's good versus evil, and they can't let it go. And it's not just them, it's Joe Biden. One of my VIPs pointed out to me, I thought this guy, his whole shtick was that he was going to unify the country. He was going to be this great uniter. Red, blue, as Bruce Springsteen would say. That was my Bruce Springsteen. Red,
between blue. Red and blue.
It doesn't matter. Joe was going to unite the country.
And we will cross this divide.
Joe was going to cross the divide in a Jeep Wrangler. But of course,
man and a woman.
Of course, that's not happening. In fact, I'm looking at a story right now. It says Al Sharpton plans to campaign against Democrats supporting Filibuster by accusing them of supporting racism. How Al Sharpton is it? I mean, I've never read a headline that I think fits the bill more as far as Al Sharpton's concerned.
Racism.
When in doubt, blame it on racism. It just tends to work. And people are afraid of that. People are afraid of being called racist. It's why so many people are closeted Trump supporters, because they don't want to be called bigots or racists or deplorables or Neanderthals or bitter clingers or credulous boomer rubes. Shall I continue? The list keeps getting longer and longer. But as I see gas prices on the rise and, the strikes in Syria, the airstrikes, and then you see that press conference of Joe Biden, which I know they've convinced themselves that he was, truly a star at that press conference.
Knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park. It wasn't even close. He did such a good job. I think deep down, when they put their heads on their pillows, they have to be thinking, maybe I was wrong. Right? Maybe. And even if they don't think they were wrong, even if they think they were right, do they turn to their Trump supporting friend and say, you know what? Even though I couldn't talk to you for 4 years, I think I can put this in the past now because I am happy now. As Hillary Clinton once said, we can bring class and civility back once we are back in charge. So you guys are back in charge. You know what would have been very unifying and very civil? Would have been if when Biden gave one of these speeches, he gave a little credit to Operation Warp Speed. Not even Trump. I'm not even saying he says Trump's name, but just mentions Operation Warp Speed. That would have gotten him praise on both sides. They would have said, oh, he's such a, big man. He has so much class and grace. He thanked Operation Warp Speed. But he couldn't do that because I'm starting to think these Democrats are a little bit petty, perhaps. Maybe a little bit small. Have you heard from someone who used to have a problem with your support of Donald Trump, who now can move past it and show you how civil they are, because President Joe Biden is in office, and it feels so good. It feels so good to have so much normalcy back in the White House. Maureen, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Go ahead, Maureen.
Thanks so much, Grace. I really enjoy the show.
Thank you.
You know, I have siblings that haven't, on what you just said, siblings that still won't talk to me now that Biden is in there. And I think they're quite honestly embarrassed because they see the gas prices climbing and the ugliness in the country hasn't subsided. It's worsened. But I wanted to ask you specifically if you could comment on Laura Ingram's interview with Donald Trump, our lovely president, the other night, and how she cut him off. Did you catch any of that? Or
I heard some sound cuts. I didn't see the part where she cut him off, Maureen. Was there a specific reason?
Well, he started to reiterate election fraud, and she stopped him and said, we're not going to relitigate that. And I couldn't believe it. Laura Ingraham, who I've always admired as being a devout Trump supporter, almost like she got paid off by management, to dismiss that.
Well, you know what, Maureen? I think it's as simple as this. Everyone's dealing with, suits right now about that. There's a lot of litigious people out there, and Fox is just covering their bases and trying to be careful. I don't really blame them for that. I mean, I think what people are most interested in hearing now with Donald Trump isn't about the election fraud, whether or not it happened. We didn't really have a chance to prove it either way. I think people are interested in about what is he going to do in 2024 and even closer 2022. What does the future hold? And as far as elections, if you want to talk about fraud, which I don't think is out of bounds, I think we have to talk about how do we prevent it going forward. When I talk to my listeners and just to friends and family, that is the main thing. They're not, people are scared about a lot of things, but one of their top worries I've noticed is that they're worried about the integrity of our elections. Because if you don't believe in the integrity of your elections, everything kind of doesn't matter anymore. If your vote doesn't matter, then the rest of this is kind of all a charade. It really does start to feel like the Truman Show. Thank you for the call, Maureen. I'm going to cut it short here so we can take more of these calls. 844-500-4242. I think Maureen brings up a really good point, because I never thought of it like that, but I guess people might be embarrassed. So if they come forward and say, "Oh, we can be friends again," I've forgiven you for your sin of liking Donald Trump now that our savior Joe Biden is in office, then that also brings up the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, how do you think Joe's doing? You hated me for 4 years because I like Donald Trump. Are you proud of your contender? Do you think he's really knocking it out of the park, as Jared said? 844-500-4242. We'll take more calls on this. But first, it's officially spring, and that means allergy season is back. Your coworker starts to come in with red, puffy eyes and, sniffling and, kind of grumpy, and it's not good. But you know what? My coworker doesn't have that problem because he has the Thunderstorm.
That's right. I'm an eternal ray of sunshine around the office, as we like to say.
Yes, exactly. But Jared, explain to people what this does, because obviously it helps if you just have, a damp smell in your basement or a smell in your kitchen after cooking, but it also does a lot to help the air so that your allergies get better and don't get worse.
Right. It actually oxidizes and ionizes the air like a thunderstorm does naturally. After a thunderstorm, you know how the air smells fresher? That's how it smells with the appropriately named thunderstorm. And when you have the scratchy throat, the watery eyes, the stuff, no, it's miserable. It's really miserable. But when you don't have that, you really feel like $1 million. But you don't need $1 million because they have a Thunderstorm Bogo that can help you feel better.
No, Jared's absolutely right. With this Bogo, each thunderstorm costs well under $100. The Thunderstorm air purifier works like a real thunderstorm. It quietly sends out super oxygen and ions to kill odors in your room and purify the air to handle pollen or those unwanted odors. Whatever it is, the Thunderstorm is what you need. Buy one, get one free. There are no limits. But this ends Sunday. Go to EdenPure.com, click on the radio banner, and use code word GRACE Bogo at checkout. That's EdenPure.com. Click on the radio banner and go to Grace. Type in the keywords Grace Bogo. We'll be back on the other side. I see you guys calling in. You want to talk about this. I hope we get some juicy scoops It's Friday. I'm looking for some drama. I don't care if it's family Facebook drama or what. I want to know it. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You can call her late for dinner. Just don't call her Gracie. It's The Grace Curley Show.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you by Apex Entertainment. Join a winning team. Apply in person on Saturday, April 3rd at the job fair at Apex Entertainment in Marlborough or online at apexentertainment.com. They're hiring over 1,000 team members with great incentives. You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
She's the friend you never knew you needed.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Okay, make that best friend. It's Grace Curley.
All right, Jared. I did not expect this because I'm such a cannoli fan. But Aviva Trattoria did it again. They brought in tiramisu, and wow.
Yes.
It is really amazing. Oh, by the way, if you guys ever want to see any of this food, my team here has made a Grace Curley Show Instagram. And we're going to put up behind the scenes stuff and pictures that we put on Twitter. So if you're on Instagram, check that out. All right, now back to business here. Get clinically proven blood pressure support with delicious Super Beets heart chews by visiting getsuperbeets.com/Grace. When you buy 2 bags, like the bags I have here, they'll throw in a third for free. That's getsuperbeets.com/Grace. Getsuperbeets.com/Grace. Jared, what is the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Who are you more ashamed of? The president or the press?
The press. I don't blame... Out of everyone in the Biden camp, I'm most disappointed in Jill Biden, or Dr. Jill as they call her, for allowing this to happen to him. But I don't think I think he's a vessel at this point for the left. I don't think he's the one to blame. I think they're pulling his puppet strings. As far as the media, these are all blue checkmark adults who are supposedly, journalists. They should be ashamed of themselves. They are absolutely pathetic.
75% of the audience say the press.
Good. I'm glad you guys are paying attention. One of my VIPs disagrees with me, but that's okay. All right. So I sound like Joe Biden. Here's the deal. But this is what I want to talk about. I'm curious if anyone's had an experience with a Trump deranged person who now, since Joe Biden is in office and we're all, going to sing Kumbaya, unity abound, if friendships are being mended and if people are finding that all is well again, civility is back. We can agree to disagree. And I see you guys on the phone lines. If anyone wants to call in, 844-500-4242. I'm hoping for some juicy scoop on this Friday afternoon. Emily, you're next with Grace on the Grace Curley Show. Thanks for calling in, Emily. What do you got?
Grace, I'm so glad you have your own show. You're adorable.
Thank you.
I'm calling because, I think one of the things that we need to recognize with this whole, those people that have railed against us for 4 years, are they going to come and how can we present it like, hey, are you happy now that Joe Biden's in office? The news that they're watching is not presenting any problems like it was for 4 years. That's the part, my friend and I were just talking about this at lunch. It's like, where are all these people concerned with the border now? Where are they? And where are they concerned with, drug traffickers and human traffickers? We have them now up in the Pacific Northwest, right? Like it's as far but they're not getting it. The news is not flooding them with this information and telling them to be angry about it.
But
so
Emily,
I have to.
Sorry, I just want to ask you, Emily, because I think I think you're absolutely right, and it's people like Jim Acosta who for years talked about, how Trump was manufacturing the crisis, and then he was talking about the kids in cages, and now he's not even on the same beat anymore. That's how checked out he is. But Emily, if your friends or anyone who's a Trump deranged hater, when they watched that press conference yesterday, my question is, do you think that they honestly assess that as Joe Biden doing a good job?
Grace, it's crickets.
Yeah.
No, I don't, and I don't think they're not going to say, because you can't. Anybody who watched that cannot be like, good job, clap all around. You can't. It's embarrassing. So it's crickets. Of course they're not going to show face.
Emily, you're absolutely right. It is crickets and it is embarrassing. And I actually want to play one here. Jared, play me a Biden where he loses his train of thought. That gives you a wide variety of options.
I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done.
Now, Emily, I have one more question for you. I just had to play that so people could get a sense of just how great of a job he did.
Oh, my gosh.
One bonus I thought of Joe Biden becoming president, and there are very few, but one good part of it was that as someone who selfishly would like to have, a gathering in the near future, some people might call it a wedding, I thought, well, at least we can start to open up because they'll be happy Joe Biden won. They'll kind of back off that. But I'm surprised, and I wonder if you're surprised at how there seems to be this desire to keep this going forever.
Listen, when we got to the 2-week mark, and in 2 weeks we were told we're going to slow the curve for 2 weeks. When we got to that 2-week mark and they were like, just kidding, all faith in that went flying out the window for me. So it doesn't shock me even a little bit. And I don't see it getting back to normal anytime soon. For crying out loud, look at the face masks. People are like blinging their face masks. It is the future of fashion. This is where we're at. I hate it, but I feel like it has to be something drastic to change it. It's too normal now.
Yeah, no, Emily, I totally agree with you. And I so appreciate the call from another young conservative person. And I hope you call back in. I never bought one of those fashionable, face masks that matches your outfit because I didn't want it to become something in my life. And no, Emily hit the nail on the head. Jack, you're next with Grace. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Grace.
Hey, what's
glad
up?
you got my call. I was just thinking about the derangement syndrome, and I kind of feel like I'm falling into a Biden derangement syndrome. He drives me crazy every time I hear him speak. But I do have some liberal friends, and it seems like even the ones that were in the middle of the road, they'll never admit to it. They don't take accountability for anything. It's Trump's fault they voted for Biden now.
That is the perfect way to say it. They'll never admit anything. And sometimes, and well, I guess, Jack, you bring up a great point, because I guess we have to get past that idea that we're ever going to get, a mea culpa or a little bit of self-reflection. These people who hate Trump so much, they're not capable of it. He has broken them. So maybe what we have to do is just keep trudging on, keep soldiering on, and don't worry about them ever giving you the satisfaction of saying, hey, you were right. I mean, and you know what, Jack? We know we were right. I know it. When I go past a gas station and I see those high gas prices and I go, wow, Trump didn't only just keep his campaign promises, all of the things he promised Biden would do also turned out to be true. So I agree. I think that whenever being a Democrat means never having to say you're sorry. We'll be back on the other side with your favorite segment of the day, Producer's Picks. Do not go anywhere.
You have just hit the jackpot. If you're tuning in right now, you're in luck. I have this amazing all-natural product you need to try, Balance 7. Balance 7 is one-stop shopping for better health, increasing your energy levels, improving your digestion, heartburn, arthritis, and so much more, giving you an all-around improved sense of well-being. Check out balance7.com and learn why balancing your body is so important for your immune system's performance. You've heard these promises from other products, but Balance 7 really does the job it says it will do. Just drink a total of 3 ounces a day, and within 72 hours, most people begin to have more energy, greater clarity of thought, and just feel healthier overall. Order your 1-month supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie to save $10 and get free shipping. Balance 7 is just for you. Order your 1-month supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie to save $10 and get free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie to save $10 and receive free shipping.
Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
only in America does the president, when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks. Wow. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog.
So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie.
Live from the Aviva Trattoria studio.
All right, everyone. What a fun day. Informative. We had Chris Bedford on. We had a lot of great guests. My VIPs are here. A-plus people, and I'm not surprised at all. And we also had a delicious spread from Aviva Trattoria. The tiramisu on point, the calamari, the arancini. Jared, they brought you in some pizza today.
Chicken pesto and tomato pizza.
Very, very
Molto
good.
bene.
So, Jared, you have no excuse not to deliver some great producers' picks, because this has been an awesome day. Take it away, good sir.
And now, the feature so many of our listeners wait for each day. Producers' Picks.
This is the part of the day where Jared goes through social media and all the news, and he picks out some stories that stand out to him. Go ahead, Jared.
We're going to start off with courage.
Courage?
Courage.
Okay, elaborate.
The John F. Kennedy Library Foundation announced that United States Senator Willard Mitt Romney will receive the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award for his historic vote to impeach President Donald Trump.
No, that's not what it
2020, and his consistent and courageous defense of democracy.
Now they're giving out profiles and courage for being a rhino. It's a rhino award?
Yes. This was Ambassador Caroline Kennedy. Senator Romney's commitment to our Constitution makes him a worthy successor to the senators who inspired my father to write Profiles in Courage. He reminds us that our democracy depends on the courage, conscience, and character of our elected officials.
The courage to want to get nice write-ups in the Washington Post.
Romney,
and to be the toast of the town with the liberal elite. I might have to bring this up, Jared, to Howie Carr.
Oh, absolutely.
Pierre Delecto gets a Profiles in Courage award. It's like, just when I think this award can't be more meaningless, it outdoes itself.
Yes, he is literally getting an award for courage by taking the least courageous path possible.
Yeah, for selling out his voters.
Now, he is the first ever senator to vote to convict the president of his own party.
Wow. You are so brave, Mitt. You are so brave. It's pathetic. It really is. Jared, okay.
You're so brave.
You're so brave. Michael Scott would say it. You are so brave. What else you got?
All right. From one bravery crusader to another. British University has been criticized for a planned life-size statue of Greta Thunberg.
I saw this, and they were focusing on the price of it. I think it cost like
$32,000.
So pretty pricey. I have to imagine you could do a lot of good with, planting trees with that kind of money. But I'm more curious about, was this made in a sustainable way? Was this made in a green way? Because that's where I think Greta would have a problem with it. She doesn't want people,
right,
hurting the environment in an effort to put up a statue of her.
Well, Christine Charlesworth was the sculptor of the bronze cast statue at her foundry, and she has been told that it is the first full-size statue of Greta in the world. And this is being put up at Winchester University, who plan to unveil the likeness of the spunky environmental activist on March 30th.
The fact that they're saying the first one in the world makes me think that they're planning on having more of these. And wait, I just want to add one more thing in. At some point recently, there was talk that, they're tearing down all these statues.
Yes.
George Washington is out. Greta Thunberg is in. You get the point. But they were saying that maybe someone they were going to replace some of these statues with, because you can't have statues. Like in Boston, they tore down, I think, the Abraham Lincoln statue.
Yes, the abolitionist statue.
They were tearing down
freedom of slavery.
And the funny part of it was, Trump said that from the beginning. He goes, all right, so it starts with, some generals from the South. You tear down those statues, but what stops you from George Washington? And everybody made fun of him and said, oh, it's so extreme, it's not going to get to that. But of course, within months, it did. And they start tearing down, presidents and all these other statues. But at some point, they were saying, all right, who can we put in who's going to be beloved by all? In one situation, they were talking about maybe putting golden retrievers in as statues, because they thought most people love golden retrievers. And the second one they were saying was Dolly Parton. And at the time, I was like, I love Dolly. Everybody knows. 9 to 5 is my morning anthem. But I was like, it's a little strange to have statues of Dolly Parton. And she came out and said, I don't want statues of me, because she's awesome and she has self-awareness, and she's like, we don't need a Dolly Parton statue. But now that I'm hearing they're making them of Greta Thunberg, I'm like, you know what? Let's circle back to the Dolly Parton. I'd be down with that.
Well, along those lines, local resident Simon Dixon told the Hampshire Chronicle, what a total waste of money. Total waste of money. I wonder whose bright idea that was. University student Henry Osborne wondered why he and the others, quote, weren't given a vote over who to have a statue of, unquote. Hampshire reader Michelle Coombs said, I think the statue sculpture itself is very good, but Greta has no connection to Winchester, or am I wrong?
First of all, your pronunciation of Greta is amazing. And I hope from now on you talk about her once a show, because it's just
Greta Thunberg.
Beautiful. But I kind of agree. And if I'm running a school and, we have all these issues, I mean, every single day there's new controversy. And the board says to me, hey, by the way, we have an idea for a $32,000 statue. I don't care who it's of. I would say, let's hold off on the statues for a while. They don't seem to be going over well with people.
And I know this is Passover, the first day of Passover, but I do have a little bit of an Easter story to get to.
Ooh.
In an unlikely union, Pepsi and Marshmallow Peeps have joined together to create a marshmallow soda.
All right, so I'm concerned because one of my VIPs, you just nodded at that with kind of like a smile, like, oh, that sounds good. And
that's a sugar junkie like me. I like him.
That drink sounds disgusting. And I just want to say, if my mom's listening, every year for Easter, my mom buys all of us Peeps. She buys a pack for each of us. In the big pack, that has all the different rows of it. And she knows at this point, my mom's known all of us, all my siblings, for our whole lives. She's known us from day one. She knows we don't like Peeps. They're gross. But she likes Peeps. So she gets them and she eats them. They're so disgusting. Why someone would want to put them in Pepsi? Ugh.
Well, they don't dip them in the Pepsi. It's just like a marshmallow. It's like a vanilla Pepsi. It's like a marshmallow flavoring for the Pepsi's not like gritty with sugar on the outside or anything.
All right. You know what I'm going to ask you right now, Jared?
Yes.
This is going to tell me a lot. Cherry Coke, yes or no?
Yes. All day, yes. All day. It's 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. I'll invent a day for cherry Coke.
Vanilla Coke.
Vanilla Coke, yeah. Okay, it's not my go-to, but I can drink it.
Can I tell you something right now? Coca-Cola, like a high-test fountain soda, preferably from McDonald's, is one of the greatest pleasures in life. If you gave up soda, if you're one of those people who goes around and tells people, I don't drink soda, I haven't had soda in 10 years, first of all, nobody cares. And second of all, you are depriving yourself because especially if you're not feeling great, a bubbly Coke from McDonald's is amazing. But the idea of having to infuse it with vanilla or cherry or Peeps, no, unforgivable, disgusting. That's my ruling on it. It's gross.
All right, well, that was the Easter story. We are well past Valentine's Day, but who says that love is dead, kids?
Oh, God.
NIH contractor who falsely claimed to work with Dr. Fauci is under investigation for possible financial crimes. Fellas, tip for you, nothing drives the ladies crazy like saying you worked with Dr. Fauci.
Wait, so what was he putting this on, like his dating profile?
Yes. Ronell Daniels, who falsely identified himself as Dr. Ronald Harvey Daniels, a researcher on Fauci's team at NIH working on the COVID-19 vaccine. Yes, he misrepresented his identity, as they say.
So is the crime here, did he pretend to be a doctor, or is he a doctor and just pretended that he worked with Dr. Fauci?
It seems like he does work for the NIH, but he is not a doctor and he doesn't have a science-based role for the research agency. So he never got into the specifics of how he worked with Dr. Fauci, whether it was to, save the Smurfs from Gargamel or with the Lollipop Guild or to march into Mordor to get the one ring that binds them all. So we don't really know what exactly he did for Dr. Fauci.
So he's like a catch me if you can kind of guy. He wanted to get the ladies, so he pretended to be a doctor.
Slightly less sophisticated, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Leo in the pilot suit, but he was doing the best he could. You know what? As long as he wasn't, at the operating table, I'm sure he was going to tell the ladies eventually. Like, you can only date a guy for so long till you figure out, I don't think he's a doctor. I just don't see it. Like, you ask him one question, hey, what do you think about this mole on my arm? You're going to figure out quickly that he is not a doctor. Let me tell you.
And lastly, we know I love the bearded Ted Cruz. Ever since the beard, the guy's been just on fire. He did one of the best things I think I have seen. It's out there all over the social media. I think he put it up on Rumble, I think is where he put it. But Ted Cruz and some other GOP senators did a kind of guerrilla journalism style video at the Texas Mexico border right on the Rio Grande. And I have a little bit of the audio. The audio is fine, but the visual is basically Ted Cruz in the dark in a vest, kind of like Steve Irwin, like, crikey, mates, we're walking through the banks. And he's talking about, there's poachers or there's human traffickers across the river. There's shining lights at. I mean, it's like Walter Cronkite in Vietnam. I mean, it is. It
does have Tropic Thunder vibes.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there's all this greenery popping out from, both sides of his face. It is pretty good. Let's hear the audio.
Yeah, here's a little bit of Tropical Ted.
So it's past midnight. I'm standing on the shore of the Rio Grande. The water is right behind me. I'm down the Texas border along with 18 senators. We made the trip to see the crisis that is playing out. We've already gone to detention facilities that are overrun. Many of them with families, small children. We saw multiple mothers who were nursing infant babies who had just crossed over and were being housed in outdoor holding pens where they were sleeping on the floor and nursing their babies.
Okay, so not making light of the situation because that sounds awful, but I will say, to your point, Jared, he's got the narrator voice down pat. Like, he is narrating that like this is a documentary.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're not making light of the situation down there, but this does kind of sound like his version of Kids Engages.
Well, the other thing about Ted Cruz, ever since the Cancun incident, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, you follow Ted Cruz closer than I do, Jared.
I do.
I think he's gotten stronger from it because he seems like he took all of this backlash and criticism, and at first he was a little bit Weasley about it, like when he came back with his little rolly suitcase. That was kind of cringeworthy. But then he kind of just decided, all right, I got to wear this. And he's been wearing it and kind of getting stronger and stronger. That's just my take.
Yes, no, he's like Samson, but it's just the beard instead of the hair.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, when we get back, we're going to talk. Do you have any more producers' picks, Jared? I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's all we have for today.
All right. What a great Friday, producers'
Although
picks.
Monday, deers can spread COVID-19 now.
Oh, is that your tease?
Don't
to
let
get
it ruin
people
your
through
weekend.
the weekend.
Don't let it ruin your
Jeez
weekend, folks.
Louise.
Don't let it ruin your weekend.
All right, guys, when we get back on the other side, we're going to be talking to Howard Lawrence Carr. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.
This hour of The Grace Curley Show is brought to you by Aviva Trattoria. Join a winning team. Apply in person on Saturday, April 3rd at the job fair at Apex Entertainment in Marlborough or online at avivatrattoria.com. They're hiring over 1,000 team members with great incentives.
I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but this reminded me again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer, a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. Right now, when a lot of people don't want to go into the city, Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Perfect Smiles has taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. To schedule a complimentary consultation, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile. Change your life.
Country needs to know about Howie. Howie is sort of an insidious force in this area. His show is listened to mostly angry white males. Racism is a key factor in your show on a constant basis. You are a good entertainer, Howie, and hats off to you for that. You have the highest ratings. People listen to you, but your show brings down the level of debate. You are an intellectual lightweight, and you're a racist.
I deal with the issues of the day. I'm number one with men. I'm number one with women. I have good demographics. I have the highest ratings of anybody in Boston Talk. I'm trying to put on a good show, and I'm a conservative. I admit that.
You know, I hate to be in a position to defend Howie Carr. I will probably rue this day for the rest of my existence. It's not just angry white men. I'm not that angry. I should say I am a white man. I am the only liberal who admits I listen to Howie Carr.
You guys have heard me talk about Super Beets for a while, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, Grace, why Super Beets? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I feel so much better right when I take one. I feel energized and ready to take on the day. And in the afternoon when I start to hit a slump, boom, I take a Super Beet and I'm refreshed and ready to go. If that doesn't convince you, can we talk about the science behind Super Beets? Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and supports healthy blood pressure. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. Go to www.superbeetsradio.com to find out more about Super Beets. Also, did I mention they taste really good too? That's www.superbeetsradio.com. www.superbeetsradio.com.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
This is the Grace Curley Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Grace Curley Show. We've got one more segment for you, and it's a good one. It's the car crossover, and it is brought to you by McConnell's Irish Whiskey. You'll know when you take your first sip, some things are worth the wait. Also, McConnell's Whiskey is sponsoring our studio VIP visits. Once Howie Carr returns, the first will be Tuesday, May 4th. You can enter for a chance to win a free VIP visit. Just go to howiecarrshow.com and click on the McConnell's Whiskey banner. You don't just get books and a delicious meal and the VIP experience, but you'll also get a McConnell's Irish Whiskey gift basket. So the whole thing in total is worth over $400. Howard Lawrence Carr, are you on the line?
I am.
All right, Howie. So let's go over this. I was talking to Howie this morning about the Hunter Biden story. I don't know if we're crazy, Howie, but we seem to be the two people who are the most interested in this entire thing. Did you think that there's more to it now after I had that guy on from Red State, Shipwrecked Crew?
Yeah, I think this is one of those crimes, though, that the Politico was right. They don't prosecute it very often, especially if it's the vice president's son. I'm just being realistic about it. You know, I mean, I went back when Barack Obama pardoned all those drug dealers. He said they were all nonviolent criminals. I went back and I just started randomly picking them out, and they were all arrested for, having guns with obliterated serial numbers or machine guns or weapons of war. And everything was just plea bargained out. You know, they always plea bargain down gun offenses. That's just the way it is.
But Howie, I know Don Jr. talks about this a lot, but I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, you hear a lot about white privilege and all this, but liberal privilege has to be thinking you can throw a gun in a trash bin and get away with it. That has to be something only elite people can do.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, you would think that Joe Biden would be chagrined that his kids, his daughter-in-law and his son, don't know how to dispose of a not even a hot weapon, just something they wanted to get rid of.
And not just his son, Howie, the smartest person he knows. I want you to keep that in mind.
That's right. And as that guy said from Red State, it would be hard for him to deny that he had a drug problem, considering he has pointed out in that New Yorker magazine story that I lost count at 7. I think 7. I think it was still going on 7 or 8 of the highest priced rehab centers in the U.S. The only one he never got to was Dropkick Murphy's, and that's because it was out of business by the time he developed his Jones.
Howie, on a separate note, I just wanted you to know this in case you're worried. There is a wind advisory right now in D.C., so I don't know if we have to keep an eye on Joe. I don't know if,
He can't go from the White House basement to the Wilmington basement then. Is that what you're saying for the weekend?
Well, what I'm saying is the stairs might not get the presidential salute tonight because they might try to keep him off the tarmac.
Well, I guess maybe he just better hang on to Major's tail when they go to Marine One, so he doesn't get blown away.
Exactly. Oh, and Howie, were you surprised no questions about Major yesterday?
I was more concerned about the cat because the dogs are back, but we still don't know who the cat is going to be, what color it's going to be, what its name is going to be. Is it going to be spayed or neutered? There were so many tough questions for the hagiographers, the panegyrists, the courtiers. I'm thinking about doing that as the poll question. How should these people be described?
They're definitely not journalists.
Stenographers? No, they're not journalists. Bum kissers, rump swabs. Which one would you vote for, Grace?
Howie, I'm going to vote for one you haven't even said, but it's one of my all-time favorite lines that I steal from you in all my columns, which is Democrats with press passes. Speaking of that, one last thing, Howie, my favorite tweet from yesterday was, follow up, Mr. President. Are they maybe coming to the border because you're so handsome, too? All right, guys, don't miss Howie's show. He's got a lot to get to. This is The Grace Curley Show.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
I'm going back to Massachusetts.
Howie Carr is coming home from Florida. Yes, he's tearing himself away from Mar-a-Lago to return home and welcome the VIPs back into the studio this May. So reserve your tickets now before they're gone. The VIPs are offered a selection of autographed Howie Carr books and even a dinner. By the way, the books are great for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or just summer reading. Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on VIP Experience.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a